Alrighty, so here we go. SEO this week, episode 131. Today we're going to talk about EAT. I know everyone's favorite topic, whether it exists or not. Who knows? That's a debate. Some image SEO, and I'm actually going to do an audit for one of the viewers. And in the viewer's defense, he gave me this link like 11 weeks ago, and I'm finally getting around to doing it, which is horrible. But what I want to start doing is keeping these stories, the news stories, short, maybe top 5, top 8, if I can like zip through a couple of them. Like you'll see there's a couple of these that we can just zip right through and it's no big deal. And then do an audit. That way you guys can see a little bit about my thought process and how I do things, and interact with me in the chat and let me know or give me ideas and give your own opinions. And then maybe also you get something out of it if you decide you want to do your own or have your site audited. As a note, I do show off the site. It's kind of hard to show someone or talk about an audit without showing out the sites. You see, we did the one on SEO Fight Club. Those guys knew what we were talking about, but everyone else didn't really get a whole lot out of it. So I like to show the sites. Keep that in mind. If you guys are requesting an audit on the show, I'm going to show your site. So if you're paranoid and you think that you have, you're just starting out and you're going to dominate a new market, you might not want to show it to me, unless you really need some help. So with that being said, I will go ahead and do the stories first. And then we will get on with the audit. And DJ said he wants to do the audits first and the news. And no, I don't want to do it that way. I like to get into my role, so I want to do the news first, where I can get into the role, and then we'll jump off. So first one is image SEO. And this is by SEO Sherpa. They actually sent this to me, and showed it off, and I really like it. And there's a couple things here that I want to point out to you. First is the SEO on the page is really cool, and second, the concepts are cool, and then third is they're still leveraging infographics, and a lot of people should be doing that. I use and like to leverage infographics that I find on Pinterest. So you find a Pinterest infographic, you wrap a story around it, and then maybe do a video, which goes into another one of the marketing strategies that we'll cover today. And then turn that all into a post, and and then repin it, and you get a lot of traffic from Pinterest doing that. So it's really cool. So also there's a checklist that goes along with this if you want to sign up and reward them for the work. If you scroll down here enough, it'll pop up. I'm not sure. I already closed it once, so maybe the pop-up won't show up again. We'll be lucky enough to deal with it. But there's 19 tips here. Some of you may know some of this stuff and others may not, but I think this is really good, and you can leverage it and get some of your images stuff. People that, in my opinion, that will get most benefit out of this is ecom. And then if you're any creative, like if you're doing web design, you should be doing image SEO. If you're a photographer, you should be doing SEO. If you're have a client or yourself is doing home design, that kind of stuff, visual markets, you guys should be worried about image SEO. And it's not all that hard as long as you get into the habit of doing it. And really right here, this number 5 to me is the primary. Setting up your images, the keywords in your title, in your file names, and then the titles, captions, and descriptions is really the best way to leverage images, in my opinion, because it lets Google know exactly what that image is about. You can play with it a little bit. Like typically what I do is, let's say I have a mountain scene and I put it on my SEO site. I'm not going to put mountain scene on there. I'm going to change it to that specific title, which kind of goes against what image SEO is. But you can leverage that with some of your other stuff. If you have your one keyword optimized image, and then do that with the rest of them, and you'll be okay. Image size is always important. I use a Smush Pro for that, and then this goes into the alt descriptions and how that works. If you know anything about SEO, you want at least one or two that are keyword optimized for your target keyword. You can use some related searches for those, and also, as I said before, you do some work on the descriptive stuff. This is a really detailed post, a great example of how to create an infographic. If you want to try it out, then they're really not that hard to do on your own, but just find someone who's got a better eye for pretty. Certainly, I am not the guy to be designing infographics, so I find people with better eyes for pretty, and then they'll create it for you. Or like I said, go to Pinterest and find some that are already made, and turn that into a great piece of content. And that's exactly what they did here. So I would check that out. You can see this kind of loads funny. So their image SEO might need some work. I'm just saying, if the images aren't loading, but you can download the rest of it and in their sign up thing, and you'll get the whole checklist. So that all works out. Next one is Search Engine Journal. Google's John Mueller is asked about EAT and structured data. And I think this the article says EAT and structured data, but it really talks more about how to leverage that author page. So if the concept is, if you're trying to increase the EAT, the authority of the page, in specific cases, medical, because medical is, since the medic updates has kind of drawn a lot of attention to EAT and the concept of EAT, in so much as establishing authority. And a lot of people are trying to do that with structured data, same as, or is really good way to do that. And the question here is, if the author is built out, I'm Clint Butler, I'm a researcher, I'm a medical doctor, I practice in this hospital, I also write for these journals, those are all authoritative. And if I add that author link to my schema, is that going to improve EAT? I would argue that having it in there and having that done is way better than not, especially with these new the rules for medical sites and how Google is trying to filter out some of the noise, I guess it were. But John also points out that it's great that you have it in there, do it if you want to, but this page specifically is what has to establish that trust and the authority. And so I would say that if you're doing, let's say, hey, you have your author bio written out that way, as I just described, cite some of those sources inside of your content too, so that you kind of figured out how to establish the authority and the trustworthiness of your content. And you do that by just essentially you're creating your source template in your about on your about page, and you know how to cite those sources inside of your articles. And use sources. Use the sources like a bibliography at the bottom, sources or references. Add those in there as well if you don't want to link directly into, just so that you can give your reader something, and two, you're kind of take advantage of the theory that linking to high trustworthy sites provides a ranking boost. I say it's a theory because I've never personally tested it myself. But I have seen where, a wiki link used to work and then now it doesn't work. WebMD is kind of the same thing. But medical journals and stuff like that it seems to me to be a benefit versus a loss of rankings when I do like a Wikipedia link. So check that out. I think that's a good thing, good start for you, and how to leverage this information here on the structured data idea. And then they go over a little bit about EAT and structured data spam, which to me is just, they kind of could have left that out. So skip the bottom half of the article if you want to. This is a viewer submitted article. It's by growthbadger.com, a blog strategy, how I got 843% more traffic from one blog post. And it's a really cool idea, and I know a lot of people are doing it already, and it's a survey technique. And if you follow Robbie Richards, you know that he was actually doing a bunch of them. I was lucky enough to be cited in a couple of those, which is a great backlink for me. And then I know that the pages actually got some really good traffic. So I think it's something that you guys should try to do. Either create these double survey technique pieces of content, or seek out people that are making them and offer your insights. I would go even so far as finding some of these surveys and saying, hey, here's my opinion. Excuse me. Here's my opinion, and maybe they'll add it. Would it be cool? Or just do it in the blog comment. It's, a backlink is in the blog comments on a really good post, especially if it's moderated, it still works. So why not try it out? These will be a little bit time consuming to set up, especially if you're going to reach, that amount of people. But for the most part, just set up a survey on google.com, Google Forms, do a little survey like that. Get your questions and your answers, keep it really simple so people will take the time to do it. If you create some big, loud, huge survey, you're going to get less respondents, in my opinion. And then go for it. I would just do, especially if let's say you're in a market where there's like this one pressing question right now, like SEO, does EAT matter? That's a survey that you can set up. Does EAT matter? Yes, no, why or why not? And you can get probably 10, 20 good respondents out of that and turn that into one of these double survey technique posts, and get some traffic at it. So this is a really good guide on how he set his up. Again, he scaled his significantly more than maybe I would have, but here's the questions, how he came up with the questions, the form possibilities that he used. You can see he just created that questionnaire and then outreach to the studies and putting it all together. So I think it's really cool idea to leverage that. Jordan Pierce, he made a comment, you can write when you're doing your EAT post, write like a Wikipedia page. That's a good point. They do, they write their paragraphs or they make their statement and then they provide the reference to it. If you're into research papers, like I can write a research paper 15, 20, 30 pages in about 8 hours. So citing is really, kind of out of habit for me. So you can do that and it really works really well. All right, let's see. The selfemployed.com. This is a new one to me. I think I got this sent to me as well. I'm not sure, but it caught my eye because of the video marketing strategy concept. And as you know, SEO This Week, SEO Fight Club, pretty much any SEO show is really it's a video marketing strategy. In creating content that is hopefully, in my case, hopefully it's useful to the viewers, and that they can engage with. In SEO This Week's concept, you can engage live, or you can come back later and put comments on YouTube or Facebook Live. Now we got that going in my Facebook group, and then or even on the blog post itself. So I've created opportunities for engagement. What a lot of people are missing out on, and I've taught this before, is if you're going to take the time to make an article, let's say that this is pure article. I don't even think they have a video on here, which is kind of silly. How do you make a video thing? But you create a great article. Now turn around and replace this featured image with a video. And just walk through these steps right here in your article. Here's your outline using the header tags, and say why gaining traffic or why you should be implementing video marketing into your strategy. You do two things. One, if mobile viewers like me, when I'm looking, I don't like to read on my phone, but I'll watch a video. So if there's a video opportunity there, now I've leveraged my mobile traffic. And two, you can also hit the YouTube side, the second largest search engine in the world, and get that extra traffic that you may have otherwise missed out if people weren't searching on Google for your specific term or whatever. So I would leverage that. You can go beyond that and turn that into an audio, which is how SEO This Week was born. I was doing some stories. I was creating videos. I ripped the videos. I turned it into an audio, uploaded on like 14 different audio sites. And then I said, hey, why don't I just do a show? And that's how SEO This Week became a live video post podcast. So you can leverage it out. I was also turning these into PDFs at one point in time. It just wasn't really getting a lot of traffic from this. I got some great backlinks, but not a lot of traffic. Next one is search engine land, Google indexing issues. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. In and out, they're having problems. Like I think there was like a 3-week period I couldn't get anything indexed. And then it was supposedly fixed, and then people were reporting that it's broken again. And finally, Google has kind of came out and said, "Yeah, we broke it. Here's how we fixed it, and some of the lessons that we learned." I think that's really good. If you know, here it said Google lost part of its index. So if you have indexing issues, or you notice some of your pages have disappeared, you might want to go in there and submit them to Google Search Console. Best practice to avoid all this drama with indexing is to use multiple indexing techniques just to make sure it's popped over a period of time. So in my case, I'll publish a new article, I'll go straight over to Google Search Console, submit it, and then I'll drop it into a tool like Colinkry, which will do a crawl. And you can set that to drip if you want to, or just go right away. And typically that's usually good enough for me. Even when people were saying that they were having issues, I was setting up a test and I got 4 test pages indexed within probably 10, 15 seconds following that process. So you want to have a system in place just to, give multiple ways for Google to find it. Don't depend on one simple thing. So that's how, and that we'll address that. Google warns embedding Instagram images can cause SEO issues. That's pretty interesting. And it's going along with this search engine image search traffic after embedding Instagram images on a site. And I think it would be a good test for you to do, especially if you have an active Instagram account, or even if you don't, maybe just find some and see what happens. And John claims that he tested it and it did notice a drop in SEO. So I would check out the video, find out, what exactly the concept was basically taking images and embedding them, obviously. And then the idea was that it would drop the search traffic to you. And I think the iframe embed from there is essentially what it's doing is creating a link to Instagram. And then the Instagram posts is getting the SEO credit, because if you know a little bit about iframes, it's a really good way for link building. And I don't say that it's harming your site. I think you're just passing the credit off to someone else. And if Google knows where the original source is, why would they rank your site when they can just rank the Instagram post, right? So I think that's how that works. Watch the video a little bit closer and then do a test. I think it's a good opportunity for a test. It's an easy one for sure to knock out. Next is the Advanced SEO Guide to Top Rankings on Amazon, another Search Engine Journal post. It's actually pretty good. I tinker around with Amazon. We have another guy in Over the Top SEO, way better at Amazon SEO than I am. I just tinker around with it, and trying to learn a bit more. I'm actually starting up my own little company on the side to do gifts and such like that. I'm thinking about starting another brand for soap, just because I can't find one, and maybe even candles. So this will become even more important to me. Hopefully you guys will get to see some more Amazon stuff in the process. But this also applies to sites like eBay, Etsy, etc. You just got to play around with it a little bit and learn their algorithms. So the number one thing that I noticed with the people that come to OTT for Amazon SEO is they're really not worried about buyer-oriented keywords, and they should be. They want to be fancy, they want to be artisanal, they want to have their moonlight beam rays, color t-shirts or whatever, and people just aren't looking for that crap. They want white t-shirts, not moonlight rays. You know what I mean? So this is something that you have to teach your clients, and you're going to start playing with their product descriptions and their product titles and stuff, that you're going after buyer keywords. They're buyer oriented. This is where the money's at. Moonlight rays is cool, but there's no money in it. So you want to make sure that that's done. And then also just go through the rest of this stuff. Is pretty much the same as for everything else. I didn't know, and I thought this is pretty interesting. You can actually turn on a little bit of structured data in your Amazon listings. To me, this was a holy cow. That's cool moment, and it's good to see that Amazon is leveraging it. If I was an Amazon seller, if I'm not and I'm competing against it, well, crap. Now I got to find out what their base, what my market or my competition in that market is doing. Are they leveraging this feature in Amazon, and can I take advantage of schema over the way to that? So that'd be pretty cool. Also, look at if you're a Amazon affiliate. Are the products that you're representing, are they using schema? If not, there's another opportunity. You can build out schema at or in excess of their statements and help increase their rankings of your target sites for affiliate stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then there's some other stuff in here: fulfillment, engagement, high quality images. I think most of this stuff is pretty much typical of what we all know. And then traffic is another good one, concentrating on it and leveraging it. So you got to get rankings to get traffic so that you can pop in. I know a lot of people that are active sellers, they leverage these sponsored brands, and then eventually that brand pops up and kicks in and goes into this to the selected results, and it ranks higher as well. Again, there's some list of, a minor overview of black hat tactics, which really in Amazon, if you think about it, is, hey, Dan, I want you to buy my t-shirt and then give me a review, and then I'll come back later and give you a refund for the thing. So technically not allowed. Highly discouraged. And I've heard rumors where people get caught doing that and they'll remove all their reviews, or they'll remove the product, or even suspend their seller's account. But I never actually met anyone that's happened to. But so be careful and who you're going to trust if you're going to go that route, just to build up your reviews. I wouldn't get crazy with it. Maybe 5 to 10. Get some traffic, get some normal sales, and then get a nice process where you're shipping the product, and in there it says, hey, don't forget to come back and leave us a review. That would be cool. You know what I mean? So, or that kind of stuff. And then finally is from Cognitive SEO, thin content and SEO, how to avoid the thin content penalty. I would argue that right now, most people who are seeing a thin content penalty are running a PBN, or they're running a user content generated type of site that is not edited properly. And when I say not edited is, hey, I accept guest posts, I take any and everything, let's go for it. And what that indicates to them is A, you're running a PBN, or B, you're selling links for content. So you typically get this thin content penalty. That's my opinion on that manual penalty, and really the only 2 situations in which I've saw it. And I've never really saw one where the site was just plain that horrible that even Google does give you a thin content penalty. Typically they're, sites that are showing off, this is what I did, and this is how I ranked, look how easy it was. Google saw it, someone reported to Google or whatever, and then thin content penalty is hit. Or the other 2 situations, you're either getting content and not editing it and selling it for links, or it's a PBN. So they have some different views in here. I think it's a really cool post to read, and I think you'll find a lot of information. I will say that it's 2019. I think we can stop quoting Matt Cutts now. That's all I'm saying. All right, so that's it. That's all the stories. Let's see. Nathaniel had a question: beyond engagement, does linking out through your show notes help networking backlinking? I think it can. Like for SEO this week, you see the content. The way I roll it is the title, then a brief snippet from there, and then the link. And I really don't. I used to edit and add my own insights into that, but I figured that's what the video is for, right? So I stopped doing that, and it's almost, it's just snippets directly from the pieces and then the links to it. But I'm still getting, it's not a lot, but I still get, supplemental rankings from other places. And I probably would get more if I did two things. One, if I added a little bit more of my own content into it, which could be as simple as just having this show transcribed and turned into a content piece and just put it right at the bottom. And two, if I actually promote it more, like I promote it, I do Google posts for it on my maps, and then I do Facebook and Skype for promotion. So the Facebook on my profile kind of gives the backlink. I could put it on the my page, and that would be another backlink. But for the most part, I don't really build a whole lot of backlinks to the site. And then I know if some users who appreciate the content, occasionally they'll show their link, so I get the natural link building. But there's no specific attempt to rank these pages. So when you say putting in the notes, will it help? I would say that it would. Pingbacks, trackbacks could generate traffic, and then people would say, hey, look, I was highlighted. My article was highlighted. And they may give you a link that way. The other way, I think I would have to actually do the whole transcripts test and see how that works for overall ranking, and maybe even passing on some of that power to more better money pages, as it were. So I'm already ranking #1 for SEO this week because I just linked the post to it just to kind of keep the continuity in its habit now. So that's a really good question. That'd be a good test. Let's see another one. I was wondering about networking, site owners, and authors of the articles you're featured. I will tell you that there's only been one author ever that even reciprocated, and that was Barry. And what he was doing is because I was covering a lot of news, he was putting SEO this week in his roll up. And he noticed when I was doing it a lot, I got like maybe 10, 15 links out of that, doing that from him. But for the most part, even when I was tweeting, I would tweet or I would email the post creators. No one would respond, and I was wasting my time. And quite frankly, it would be awesome if they did. It seems like an easy, hey, gave me a link, thanks, cool, and show it off to someone and say, look, it was great. But for the most part, I never saw that. Maybe they just hated my opinion of the articles. Who knows? But you could. I think it's possible to create a network of other authors and work out a reciprocal system. In particular, if you're doing podcast shows, if you're doing a lot of those interviews type things, SEO Fight Club, we're doing an interview tomorrow. And she wanted the links because she was going to promote the show across her email list, her social media, and everything. Those are the kind of people that you want on your shows as much as possible. Same with if you're doing a conference and stuff. If someone says, hey, Clint, you want to come speak at a conference? Isn't it like kind of, to me, I would think it would be natural for me to promote it. I'm speaking at this conference. This is awesome. And then hand out the links. And you notice that the kind of like the same thing is a lot of people just don't do that these days. If there's nothing in it directly for them, then why should I, even say thank you to the guy that highlighted my content on the post? So I'm not bitter about it. Just it's human nature. Sometimes humans suck. What are you going to do? All right, so let's get into this site audit. I'm going to start sharing the screen once again. I will be using Sitebulb, Excel, and another browser. So if you see issues where it's a small or hard to read, let me know. I'll try to zoom in and be cognizant of that, but keep in mind that you guys are on a lag. So if you complain and then I don't see it in time, I apologize in advance. So the site we're going to do is move on. It's choosemoveon.com. And it was given to me on Facebook when I requested. Some people asked who wanted to do site audits. Again, this was a 11 weeks ago, so I am slacking. I'm going to stretch these out and zoom in a little bit more so you can see. Keep in mind page structure and stuff. When I have these stretched out, I'm on a 27-inch monitor, so that may affect things in the way that you see them. So if you want to, you can just follow along on the website itself or go back later. First thing I do when I come to a website, what is it, what's it about, and what's in it for me? Those are the main three questions that I ask. I got that technique from someone, I think it was Evan Carmichael. I want to say it was Evan, but this is like, I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now, so I kind of forget the original source. But what is it? What's it about? What's in it for me? And typically, that's what the user is going to ask anyway, right? They're going to get on there and make sure that they're in the right place, and you have to be able to say, "Boom! That's what you've accomplished right here." So, what is it? It's a site for Move On. That's the business name. What's it about? Moving, hopefully, moving with a purpose. Is that exercise or am I moving? I'm not sure. The picture kind of gives it, but that could be a little issue. And then what's in it for me? Book your move. So typically, if I would have came here from the target term, then I'm assuming that I got to the right page. But I think this headline could do a little bit better. Moving what with a purpose? Moving, I would do something more of, we're not going to break your crap. We're going to get your crap there on time. We're going to pack it and unpack it great and nice for you. Obviously, you won't say it like that, but I bet you that might even convert pretty well if you could try. So, this needs a little bit of work. Audit side, technical is where I normally start from this point on. What's it about? What's in it for me is pretty clear at this point. They're movers, they're in Tennessee, and they target mainly, they got all these different places across the state. But their homepage is optimized for Nashville. So we're going to focus on Nashville movers as the keyword. First thing you want to do is open up your favorite quick analysis tool. There's plenty of the plugins and tools and Chrome add-ons if you want to. I use SERPworks. SERPworks connected to my Ahrefs account, and I can see all this data on the fly. What I'm looking for here is backlink counts typically. So links to the homepage are pretty good. And then the referring domains, 234, which means they're not spammed out. And hopefully there's some good backlinks. We'll hit that in just a second. Next thing I do is look at their H tags. If you follow me before, your H tags are your outline of your page, and you want to have your keywords and your H tags. Your primary keyword should be in H1 and the H4. That's how I set up all of my pages. H1, H4 has the primary keyword in it. Design relative, obviously. Some designers, for whatever reason, everything's H1, H, in the H tags, and it kind of screws up this process. So you got to clean that up a bit. Number one thing here is, if we're targeting Nashville movers, there's no Nashville movers inside of the H1 tag, and that is hurting them. I actually have their ranking. Let me see where their ranking is real quick for this term. Where is it? I want to say it's 13. Yeah, there it is, 13. I'll zoom that in when we come back to that. So, this was probably get them, just changing this and adding H4 with Nashville movers on there will probably get them on the first page. I can pretty much say that with confidence that they're sitting at 13 with all those backlinks. Next is, I use H2s and H3s. If you follow myself or Kyle, we always talk about related searches in your H2s. That's what I do. And then Google Trends in H3s to get some of the variations from those tools already done. It's inside of my brain that I need to do that. So I have variations covered pretty quickly. So this one I would keep H2, move that one. I would remove the H tag from this. I would remove the H tag from this. I would keep it, remove the H tag, remove the H tag, remove the H tag. And that keeps those all relevant and make sure that Google knows what the site's about. Same process here. Moving, packing is related, moving, and then Tennessee. I would keep all of those. These are all good. And then I would also add the exact match to my H4. That's how the outline, if you're looking at a website that's already made, you're not creating it, and you're not going to be able to do the outline, that's a quick way and down and dirty way to do it. If it's already done and the keywords are not in here or the variations are not in here, then you have issues. But for the most part, you can just go in here and take these out and recode that section with font size element in the HTML. It's pretty easy to do once you figure out what in the CSS file in WordPress case what that H2 size is. It'll tell you right in the CSS file, and you just change that and carry it over into these, and you knock it out. And no one will even know that you did it, except the web designer. The downside is if you're not using a child theme and someone goes in and updates it, you got to start all over, and that can be a pain. So make sure you're using a child theme when you're applying those kind of changes, especially if it's a good theme developer. So now we know the target keyword, Nashville movers. We know the H1s need to be fixed. The next thing I want to do is come in and check on the page speed. Actually, PageSpeed of the site is really good. You can see I use webpagetest.org. I used to use Pingdom. I used to use GTmetrix. GTmetrix changed their times now, so you'll get different numbers based off of combined stuff. So in this case, the load time is 1.714. That's the complete load. All the scripts and everything was all done, is all complete. Google doesn't give a crap about that, and frankly, neither do your users. So you look at the first byte. In this case, the first byte is really good. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is okay. Anything over 5, I get nervous and I start looking at, especially if it's a WordPress, I'll start looking at which plugins are causing the issues. Start render is really good. Anything under 3 is what I shoot for. Typically, if I can get you under 2, then that's good. If you're under 2, leave your site stuff alone. You're good. And then your first contentful paint. What this means is your users can start actively messing with your website, and you also want this to be as fast as possible. I like to keep this one under 2 as well. Excuse me. Again, Google is looking for under 3 seconds, so I keep everything under 2, and I always win. And I meet what Google's trying to do. The rest of these numbers are all fancy and stuff, but for the most part, those are the 3 metrics that I pay attention to right there. First byte, start render, and successful paint. And then you can click into these views if you want to. If you never use this tool, you just click into the views and you can see what's causing the lags. I think most often than not, you're going to find that it's your images that will cause problems. So if you address the images situation, you're going to address a lot of the stuff in here that's lagged out. Every once in a while, you'll see some stuff where caches cause hard loads, but that's because that cache is more than likely combined. Like this site is using Breeze, and you can see that URL is a cache URL from the JavaScript. So my guess is they have Breeze turned on, it says minify the JavaScript, and then it's combined that JavaScript to make that file a little bit bigger, and that's why you see that longer thing in there. Sometimes you don't want to combine. Like Google and everyone tells you should always combine your JavaScript and your CSS because it loads less elements, blah, blah, blah. But then you get bigger files. Whereas if you keep it uncombined, minified, but not combined, you have more files, but they're all loading way faster than they would if they were in one big file, like in this case. If I was if I did want to tinker this site and try to make it a little bit faster, I'd turn off combine and see if that would do anything. I would guess that you're probably maybe get 200 milliseconds off of there. Is that really worth it? I doubt Next thing we do is look inside of the SEMrush. I want to see where else they're ranking and are they getting any improvements. You can look over here. You can see that the viewer who's done this, he's got a little bit of boost out of this. And then it dropped off and now it's kind of leveled out. I would expect to just, when I see that pattern, it's a boost. Google's going, hey, I'm going to try it for all these keywords. And these ones didn't work. Now we're going to kind of level off. And then I expect to see a slow gain. I also look at this. He started paying for traffic. Now, I will tell you that I have bought ads for specific keywords, single keyword ad groups, bought ads, and then as soon as I stopped, I dropped out of the SERPs. Correlation in that case definitely does not mean causation, but it's pretty damn suspicious. So I would look at this and then I would examine why that happened and see where the ad campaign is pointing at and which pages dropped. If those two correlate, then you might have to seriously consider that Google is messing with that. It also could mean that you gave Google direct access to your site and you said, this is the page that is optimized for, and your ads proved differently because it wasn't converting and stuff. So now that quality of that content is no good. Pure speculation on my part right there. So, but that'd be interesting. Next I do is get into the organic keyword, and we're looking for quick wins. Anything in the 4 to 5 range is a quick win in my book. I want to get you in the top 3. If I can do that across the board in a lot of things, I'm going to increase your traffic. So you just go down here and you look at it for. So Spring Hill, he's got a page for it. That's an option. Let's see, pet friendly things to do. That's not. That could probably be a good support page. I bet you that's what he did. Let's see here. Pet friendly in actions in Nashville. Wrote out a support page. Movers. Local moving in Nashville. Top front. That's another support page. That's a category. Yeah, and this is another support page. This is another support page. Another support page. External link to an authority site. This is actually pretty good for a support page. So if you're used to, if you want to know how to do one, this is a pretty good example. A couple things that I wouldn't do is, this is a support page for Nashville. I'm not sure if Goodlettsville is a subdivision of it, but he's got a separate page for it. And then there's a homepage for Nashville. I'm trying to rank for Nashville. That's my money thing. So I wouldn't have this in here. I wouldn't have that link. This one, local moving, this is an information page. I know that from clicking around before. So that's okay, because, but again, he's not trying to rank it for Nashville. And so this was essentially, if you keyword cannibalization, it could create that potential. So I would take off the Nashville, Tennessee part right here and just keep local movers. That way you keep the relevance of that local moving page. And then the support pages, interlinked, smart, and then best playground, smart, and another information page. So that's pretty good. But yeah, those would be a couple things that I would change on that page. And I wouldn't have found that unless I knew to look at some of these quick wins. So you might have a keyword cannibalization thing. You have to look at it and find out. I will tell you that when I did this search, Nashville movers inside Cora, I got like 7 pages from this one website, all popping for that keyword. So the potential is there. And I think that could be something that could be fixed. Again, quick wins, stop at number 9. 9 up, 9 to 4. Those are your quick wins. Those are the ones that I'd be targeting. Traffic is kind of lagging. The volume, I would go after Move On Moving. That's the brand. And you're number 6 for the brand, Move On Moving. So that needs to be fixed. The brand network can do that. And then that's a town. I'm not sure that you'll be able to go after that one. And then the Tennessee, also a town. You're 8 and 9. I wouldn't try to go to number 1 on those two. I would get to like number 3 and then stop investing my time. You're going to get some traffic out of it, get some information, and you're a mover, so it's popped up in sight. So that works. And then move on is too broad. I wouldn't waste any money in it. You're 10, but I really wouldn't waste any money. Your brand network would probably carry that over. Here's your money term, Nashville movers. According to SEMrush, you're number 9. Again, Cora said you were 13 when searching in Nashville. So this is probably just like general, not localized out, but 880 volumes. And you still have some work to do. And let's see, I already looked at that. Let's look at Cora. I didn't run pop just because I didn't want to set it. I didn't want it. Here's all the recommendations. For most people, I would tell you to stick to the yellow ones. Let's go. Try to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can read this. There you go. So for the most part, what I do is I recommend, like my guys, I tell them to just do the yellow ones. That way nothing gets broken. And then Ted added the variations, these shared, and in this case, it's shared and it relates to your competitors. In red, it's the shared data, but not your competitors. So I worry about the black and the green, and I don't really mess with the red too much until it's, I just want to get some more out of it. And I'm trying to go for 100%. And oftentimes, though, that's not the case. So I'll go with the open graphs and the meta tag description. That's Facebook. If you guys don't know, Facebook, Twitter, the OG, that's what drives that. So you need to get that set up. Phone numbers. When I see something god awful, like add 108 phone numbers to the page, you know that you're dealing with a directory that's in there. So typically you can ignore that. JSON LD, the offer. There is a markup for offer inside a schema. They need to go research that and add that into there. Search terms and the body tag. That's just adding couple more terms to the content. And then again, here's the H1. Remember I pointed that out with SERPworks. Didn't even need Cora to do that, and it's right there. And then search term is the HTML tag. I'll tell you that once you take care of this is going to go away, and then this is going to 4. So really, you only need to add the exact term 4 more times, not 5. So that's kind of how that works. And then CSS, number of CSS includes. If you're used to messing around with CSS, go ahead, but typically I ignore it. You can do basic tunings or intermediate tunings. I really don't get into these until I've already decided where it's going to go, where it's going to stop. But a lot of this stuff is going to take some stuff that you can leverage right away. So if we look at our target site, in this case, the title is Move On Nashville Movers. That's it. So in the basic tunings, in the intermediate tunings, it says I should have best, year, top, or free, or a combination of the both. The title tag on this site is so short, you probably get away with adding all of those. Best Nashville Movers 2019, top rated, free estimate. Obviously, you probably want to do a better job than that, but those hit all 4 of those pretty good. I would, hell, I wouldn't even, honestly, I'd probably even try that, just what I just said. Best Nashville Movers 2019, top rated, free estimate, and then the brand at the end, just to see what happens. I think they might actually work. And then obviously another thing here is backlinks is relatively low, and we'll look over that. This is the last part. Number referring domains and links to the homepage. This is the homepage. Typically, I want to look at the pages I'm going for. So I look at number referring domains. Thought I was signed in. Such a slacker. So I look at a couple of things here. Link growth. You can see this coincides with SEMrush, where they told us the traffic increase you can see their link building campaign has stepped up a bunch, and that's where that traffic is coming from. I also look at this. If I'm dealing with the US site, then I want all this to be focused on India and Colombia. Take it with a grain of salt. IPs, etc., bouncing around. Is it really an Indian site? Blah, blah, blah. Or is it just managed in India? Is this a bunch of PBNs from a provider? But for the most part, my US sites, I want this to be the darkest part. If I don't care, you'll find a lot of my sites are really dark and Russian. And then I look at this. What is the anchor text and how is it diversified? I have this whole list of anchor text classifications of a guy named Michael Myers. He built it, and I just kind of turned it into my own. And I'm creating a software actually to pull all this data and you can actually see the numbers. But I want to look at brand. Are they leveraging brand? Are they using too much exact match? And when I say too much, is that's compared to the search results everyone else is doing, not some imaginary number. What are the search results looking for? And then also just some kind of variations. These variations, believe it or not, they help you if you are using something like a PBN, because it hides your PBNs and your more powerful links in there. Not so much when you're dealing with small numbers like this, but it's better than nothing. So I look at those, and then I look at the types of referring domains, and I sort by DR. Everything 40 and up is interesting. That's valuable to me. If it's DR 40 and up, it's valuable. Anything below that, it's like, okay, thank you for the link, but I really don't care about you. And this number has been kind of my magic sauce for DR. Then they changed it, and now it's UR is more important. And DR it's a famous site. It's awesome. But URL rank is where it's at. And that's based off of shared data and some of the stuff that Ted's doing with his leaderboards. And UR seems more valuable. That's okay. It's still the same tool. And just using a different number. So I look at these: Medium, Crunchbase, Soup. These are really good. Expertise.com, top rated local. There's some directories in here everyone's doing. So they're not doing too bad. I want to bring this down. And you can see how the UR is lower. They would get more power out of these backlinks if they sent some backlinks to these and boosted these up. So you don't need as many backlinks if you're boosting up your other stuff and kind of getting those metrics raised for you. And take advantage of it. I think this is low because these are search queries, but it's interesting that these still show up, because that means that this site could actually be having some issues as well if these search queries are indexed. We don't like doing those parameter things. We don't want those in the index because we don't have pages for them, and a little bit harder to control. But if it's coming from your backlinks, then go for it, right? So that would be something that I would do here. Let's check another one. Absence, yep, those are 11. Dex knows. Dex, yep. Yeah, I consulted with them for a while. They got the same issue here. You can boost those up. I can tell you that Dex that actually can take a beating. So if you want to do their links, here's another one. Deal of the day, Yellow Pages. That's pretty good. I would actually, this is a good thing to send maybe some PRs to you and get that URL ranking up. So what I'm basically telling you is you have a really good set, or this guy has a really good set of backlinks just to and boost the power of this. And then finally, I want to close it out and have you guys look at this. This is a essentially, if you are using a tool like Cora, Pop, or whatever, this is a really good report to have, and because it allows you to see your competition in the data view and learn a little bit more about what's going on. First is the anchor text. You can see the different ones that they're using in the span class. This one is like some of the stuff that Cora pulls out, like how the hell am I supposed to read this? But this is a good start when you're doing anchor text analysis. You just kind of scan through here, look at these things and see what people are covering and what people are doing. It's not end all be all. And then the next one I like is titles, because you always get stuck at titles, writing them, trying to figure out how to improve yours. Again, if you look at our target site right here, it's only 4 words. There's so much opportunity that's missing. And you can see that people are doing a really good job. Top 2, movers, moving, movers, moving, movers, moving, moving, movers, etc. So obviously we need to get movers in there. We need to get moving in there, move on moving, best Nashville movers, move on moving, top rated 2019, free estimates. I bet you that would fit, or it would be really close. So, and you can also see that best right here is showing up good. Let's see, there's another best. I don't see top rated in there. So, but hell, if the data's showing it to you, you might as well try it, right? And then H1s, if you're stuck on H1s, I don't know what to do. Here, you can come back and look at some of these, etc. This is also really good. If you're watching the show, reach out to me and I'll send you those reports if this is your site. With that, I want to close out with the last piece that I do. And that is, I'm not going to show you that, that's a whole show, is Sitebulb. If you use Screaming Frog, Visual SEO, what is there, Xenu, I think is the other one, Website Auditor, all these all tools do pretty much the same thing. They just look at different rules and stuff. I like this one just because the interface is cool. It's a piece of software. I keep the data for a long time, etc., etc. And here's how the hints are pressed out. Some things that I would look at right off the bat is canonicals. I want to make sure that those are all right. So you're gonna have to go through and look at your canonicals, external URLs. There's some opportunities that you can fix some of those. More importantly is you have some broken internal ones. I also noticed that you have some internal links, or this site has internal links from Facebook. So it's their homepage, and then the Facebook parameters are inside of the internal links. You want to fix those because it's a different link. And let's see here, pagination, don't really mess with those. PageSpeed, we already know is good, so we kind of ignore that. And then we scroll all the way down here and get into the SEO stuff. And this is just some basic things that you can go. Title length, H1 is too short. There's just opportunities for you to add some more keywords in there, more relevancy, maybe some conversion terms in there. Missing alt tags, that's a big one, and meta description is missing. This one is a little wary. You have to decide if you want to fill those out or not, or let Google decide. Google do them. There's 2 camps in that, and I've tested in the wild the camp of leaving it blank, and I've tested in a while the camp of filling it out, and I've always got a ranking boost when I filled it out and filled it, added keywords to it. So that's the route that I go. So this one is valuable to me. Meta description is missing. That said, if you're dealing with a site of 25,000 products, if you've ever had to send 3 or 4 VAs to go write 25,000 meta descriptions, you feel really bad, and it takes a long time. So maybe this meta description being blank is something that you could ignore if you're already ranking all of the things combined. If you're already taking care of everything else and you're still down to number 4 and you want to try number 1, fill out the meta description for that product and see what happens, and it'll kick you off. So versus doing all 25,000. Another feature that I like here is the crawl map, and this is how I see that the silos are built properly. Again, you can use, I don't think I can zoom in on this stupid thing. Oh, there you go. You can use this to make sure your structures are done. You'll see your target, like this page is all out by itself. Popular music festivals, it's going to the category page. It's in the category in the structure. Typically, a better one is to be able to see a, like this is in the URL structure in the categories. Yeah, see. And this is based off of locations. So move on, and services, and these are all subpages of the homepage. So you want to, this is kind of what you're looking for. This is another good example here. Tennessee, Old Hickory, the locations, and those are all linking to that. Those are all subpages. So this gives you an idea of what their thought process was when they build out the site, and then you might have to go in there and change the virtual silo without messing with the URL. So that's another way I leverage that. And then ultimately, I can just go ahead and export this and give a PDF report. It says 60 seconds, sometimes faster, slower. I just want to show it to you in the interface. But this would really help you out. I'm just going to stop that because it's taking forever. So that's it. That's a quick and down and dirty audit of the website. Obviously, there's other ways to do it. You can run, like I know Josh Brzezinski's got a template that he does, and he changes a couple things. I've seen like 10, 15 of those things, and it's like the same template. And Cushing's got a template that goes out there. Robbie Richard has one, and so does Ryan Stewart. All of those are, pretty good in one of the cells and what they are. But when you take those and combine those and create your own process, you'll find that the site audits are faster, but you can be a little bit more thorough with them at the same time. Typically, I like to spend at least 12 hours, but not consecutively. I'm not going to sit behind my computer for 12 hours and do it. I'll run all the tools, go analyze the tools, go look at the sites and make the recommendations on the reports. And then and compile that into a closing report, and that is the site audit. And so you're looking at $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the site of the site, for me to do a full on-site audit. But anyone can do what I just did: run some tools, get some quick links, glimpses of what you're doing, and go after the quick wins. While your team is doing that, you can go in and do the full site audit or on your own while you outsource the specific work that you want to do for your own business site. You can, and then come back and do a full site audit if you want to, or bring someone like me or Kyle in to do a more complete version of the site audit. So you have essentially an SEO roadmap for the long term. All right, hopefully that was useful. We'll go look over here, glance over if there's any questions. No questions on the audit. That's awesome. Either it was really clear or really stupid. I'm going to assume that I was really clear. Terry Power asks, what conferences am I going to? I am doing SEO or NFG Rockstars. That is the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of October. The last day of September, was it 29th or 30th? I'm not sure. But the last day of September is kind of like a networking hangout day at Disneyland, and then the conference is the 1st and 2nd, and then the 3rd is essentially VIP day, where in a working kind of environment. So people doing just really what we did right there, bringing the sites up and trying techniques, etc. My talk is going to be on the anchor text analysis. I'm really, really excited about doing that and teaching that people that concept. And then I will go into better idea of my silos, how I do those, and then finally I'm going to probably show off the canonical negative SEO attack again. And the reason I will want to show it off is not to tell people how to do it, but I'll show people how to identify that it's happening to them, because there's a lot of lazy people. I won't say a lot. There's not a whole lot of people using it, but there are people that are using it that are, and you should be able to spot that, just in case, in case you get famous enough that someone cares that much to go after you. But it's also a good reputation management thing. So those are probably the things that I'm going to hit on in my talk, and so we'll see how that works out. But I think there's Mike Pierce is talking, Brad Mayberry's talking, Jordan Pierce. I heard Holly Starks will be there. Who else is going? Kyle's going to be there, I think. I'm not sure. Hopefully Ted comes. And then I guess there's some secret people from the NFG side. that I don't know that might be going through. So, but I'm looking forward to it. And then after that, I'm not really sure. I wanted to go to at least one more conference this year, not speaking, just attending. So we'll see how that goes. All right, and hopefully that's it. Again, hopefully you like the new format. The audits obviously can get a little bit winded if I'm not careful, so we kept this right at an hour, which is really good. I hope you like the stories. Again, we're going to keep those thin. You're still going to get the best of the best and my insights. And when Ted is here, he's on vacation right now, you'll get his as well. And then just us banging around with the audits. If you would like an audit for your website, go to Facebook, look for a group called Marketing Masters. That's mine. It's pretty obvious that it's mine. You'll be able to see it. Join that and then put your site in there, and we'll highlight your site on the show. Also, you can do it in YouTube, but really there's a lot of trolls and stuff like that. Just the Facebook, the Marketing Masters keeps it clean, and you don't have to worry about that. But then again, you get a good backlink from the comments. Those are do follow comments and for internal links inside of YouTube. So putting it in the comments ain't going to kill it either. But that's, if you do the Facebook thing, then I'll be a little bit more in tune to what you're doing. So again, it's Marketing Masters inside of Facebook. And I will like to thank you if you're on YouTube for watching and Facebook for watching, and we'll see you next week. This has been SEO This Week. Thank you all.